Alright, so this is episode, 18 to 53?
Yep.
Last time I asked everybody how many times you run it back. I didn't ask you, Ryan.
This is my second. I just now caught up to the anime. I started in 2014. I just now caught up to anime. I took 3 groups.
How many times you run it back, Aaron? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why you cut
You
him
like
off?
rewatch the whole
Why
thing?
you cut him off?
I went from episode 1 to, I believe it was 500.
I wanted to cut him off.
Then I took a break. Then from 500 to about 700. Then I took a break. Then I just recently watched some I'm sorry, it was less than that. It was like 600. Then 600 to current, which is like 1,030, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
For current, yeah. So I just now caught up to anime.
It's 1,032.
I feel a void in my life.
How many times do you run it back, Jeffrey?
This is my second.
And then Aaron?
Like 2 or 3.
I watched the video. I realized I didn't ask everybody else, so I had.
I'm still remembering and learning a lot though, and being reminded of all the stuff they foreshadow in everything in East Blue.
It's the same thing of Game of Thrones, where you watch it and then you watch it again and you realize a lot
We're
more.
not talking
I
about.
know,
Don't
I'm
talk
just saying,
about
you realize a lot more.
We're not talking about.
You realize a lot more the second time
Yes.
I'm just using an example. You realize a lot more when you go through it a second
I
time.
got my eye twitching.
This is actually
Scott,
my fourth
Scott
time.
does not like Game of Thrones, right?
Scott
Fourth
loves Game of
time, huh?
Thrones.
I thought you was like, what have you been
Well,
doing?
you're in the lead.
18,
I guess you get to run the camp.
18 years.
My God, what are you doing? So,
Holding strong.
so we left off with Sir Brills, Usopp's introduction.
There it is.
So we're covering the.
Your English is horrible.
Yes, it is. We're covering.
I'm sorry.
Syrup
I love you, Ryan.
Syrup Village. We're covering Baratie, Arlong Park, and Logtown, correct?
Yeah.
Somebody want to start with Baratie?
But yeah.
I got a hot take on that. I actually like that arc better than Arlong Park now.
Do you?
The Baratie arc.
I agree.
That's crazy. When I'm like, this is better than, and I like Arlong still, but it was deeper. They had more depth to me.
I can see it, but for different reasons. So I like both of them for different reasons.
I hate Don Creed's voice. I don't think his dubbed voice. I don't think it matched the character at all. And I hate Arlong's voice because it's Hercule, even though it's a different anime. But
That's the problem watching it dub. You're just gonna
I
hear
just,
a bunch of the same.
I just kept thinking about Hercule and it just irritated my soul.
I actually thought he did justice for that voice though as Arlong because he was way more serious than Hercule.
I like his voice for Arlong better. Watching it back, I kind of like not hated Usopp as much because he did do a lot of little things.
Mhm.
Like he made the flag. So
But
yeah.
I was gonna say something about Usopp too, but like especially with Arlong, he actually won a fight.
Legit.
Nobody saw it,
Yeah.
and like he kind of they could see him lying about it, but he did actually win a fight.
He low-key killed him.
Yeah.
Like, he just kept hitting the hammer with it.
Usopp
He's
Usopp
dead.
Hammer. Usopp Hammer.
It was legit. That's what I liked about it. It wasn't he tripped and fell. It was like a legit fight.
Even though he ran away from him.
It wasn't no accidental win. It was
Mhm.
like he won on his own terms, I guess, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get too far ahead with Arlong, but it was the first time you got to see like the crew come to the village and go for the fight together. That's what I liked about that arc.
Arlong Park is the first, when the Straw Hats formed for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because,
That was the first display of a group power
yeah.
instead of just like one guy's coming and everybody's separated.
Yep. Somebody's over here. Somebody's on the other island. They were all together.
You have the emotional payoff with Nami, and then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go take care of things, and then the group's already there waiting for him. That was the first hype moment for me, where, gives you goosebumps, and you're like, this is what this crew is about, this is what this, story is about. It's an emotional payoff of, all right, well, this is where it's leading up to, and this is all of East Blue, pretty much. And then it finally all comes together with those last series of fights.
Everybody didn't give their power to Goku.
Yeah, it wasn't one
Yeah.
person. If one person would have lost, they would have been in trouble because everyone else gave their all with every other fight.
Yeah, Zoro got beat, man. Like Zoro got beat. Is the first. I'm like, oh, main character, he lost. He got slashed up, and I really liked it. Like I said, the Baratie arc, they had so many moments like that, where it's like, oh, I forgot this happened in this arc. And when Zoro fought Mihawk, it was a good fight. Good to see him lose, and then how low his power still is.
Yeah, it just expanded the world and like how the power gap is just insane.
Oh yeah.
And the world building of like, all right, well, we've been fighting these kind of pirates. These are like the big league pirates, and it's like a kid going from a kid table to the big boys, and he got smacked. And it just shows how much further he needs to go.
And I liked how Mihawk still respected him too
Yep.
after. It's like,
That's where you can see Zoro's development, like how Shanks saw Luffy. Like that's where Mihawk's like that Shanks character for Zoro.
that's a good point.
I agree.
That's what I like about it. And then, just to top it all off, you show that they're friends.
Yep.
Shanks and
Yeah.
Mihawk.
Yep, which expands. Shanks always comes
Yeah.
back as like, this is the character that like, he's the base of like, all right, well, is this character relevant to Shanks? That's how you can tell if he's important or not, kind of thing, to a certain extent. But I did like it. We're skipping all over the place, but it's fine. Arlen Park.
It's East Blue.
Yeah,
It is all.
Yeah. How Zoro fights Hibachi is his name, I believe.
Hachi.
Hachi. I'm thinking of restaurant.
You trying to eat?
Hachi, he severely damaged, and he still gets the W because his determination is like, I just told Luffy I'm never going to lose again, and he still powers through it and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Which also, I did not really remember this until recently, that 2 of his swords got broke.
Yep.
Zoro's swords got
Yeah.
broke. I forgot about that. And he doesn't get him until Logtown. He
Yeah,
gets
I was
his 2 of his swords.
Logtown's only saving grace for me is when he was searching for swords. Really, my only favorite part about that whole arc.
I really like Smoker's character. That's what really helped me too.
You're right.
I like Smoker a lot. There's a first introduction to Lugia type. What was I say different? Sorry.
I just don't like how they don't do a whole lot with this character going on with the story.
Yeah, it's one of those.
They make
yeah.
him way weaker than everyone else.
He's definitely
Especially
that
when,
in-between
like,
character that's
Hockey
better
gets
because he's that way,
in-
but also underused.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like when Hockey gets like shown up in the show, he really doesn't have that much power with his sword anymore.
Hockey's a whole other thing we're gonna get into because that completely changed the power dynamic of everything.
I'm lost. I thought the first time I watched it, Smoker used his weapon.
He did. I believe he did.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he didn't
I-
do it.
yeah,
I was waiting the whole time.
I was gonna
he
point that
didn't
out
use
too.
it.
He
You haven't
implied
noticed?
that it would do something to him though.
He didn't use it. Not
He just didn't even
not
get to
in
pull it
okay.
out. Because the second he was going for it, here comes Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With Dragon, we're not gonna talk about because avoiding spoilers.
I
Because they
wonder,
don't say
what
nothing.
Dragon's power is.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. You might find out.
Yeah. This episode aired in the year 2000. We're still waiting.
I was about to say, okay,
I
rewatching
was
it,
middle
it's like
school,
crying.
Jesus
it's almost
Christ.
more implied that that's his power. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
it's the weather is his power.
Well, he-
weather and or
The light.
water.
He's Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
He's Storm.
Like it was almost more than heavily implied just by him entering and then like,
But that.
all right, I'm leaving now. Here's Gus.
But like, watching it back though and thinking like, I know he's coming and what's he doing? Like you can kind of put it together. But the first time you're like, well, what's his power? We're like, now you can kind of like.
Well, I mean, I think even watching it first times, like after them showing almost all these other powers and then they just introduce smoke, it's not too insane to see. Okay, here comes a mysterious guy. Weather just changed dramatically to where
But-
it shouldn't even been like this, and then you got all this other stuff going on just because he's doing something
Yeah.
strange.
Oda's really good at that. It's setting up one thing and then making you wonder about the
Exactly.
next. Where
But-
it's like,
The first time I ran it, it was like 50 episodes a day, so like I wasn't even thinking about that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, then we skipped ahead a lot, but episode 19 it showed Zoro's backstory with his girl rival.
Which we touched on a little bit,
Yeah,
but
he does.
Yeah. Now my question is, did she fall down the flight of steps, or did somebody push her?
That's what I was thinking.
I think it's One Piece, and we've never seen a dead body, so she's still alive.
I agree with
I
Ryan.
was
That's
about
what I was about to say.
my
One Piece
question
is
is
still alive.
is she actually dead?
One Piece is really
But they
notorious for not killing off people when they should be dead, and killing off people when they're like, oh, that's kind of underwhelming.
they could do in the future where like the girl in Logtown was she sergeant major.
Tashigi.
Smokers.
Tashigi?
Her
yeah,
rank,
Tashigi, yep.
sergeant major. They could say, oh, it actually is
lost her
her. She
memory.
lost her memory
Which
when
they've
she
done
hit her head on the
a
stairs.
couple times. Yeah.
And they just never went. I feel like One Piece, they do it a lot where like they just have a lot of loose ends. They just never.
They
bother
did
to
imply that
tighten them
that
up.
was her during Logtown.
I liked how they said too. It was just because he was strong, it didn't make you a great swordsman. You had to have finesse and stuff too. So that did make sense of her beating him. She learned from her father, and she knew the art. So I like that about it too.
Technique.
Yeah.
You have anything to say about Barate, Jacob?
Me?
Yeah, or anything in general?
I'm thinking. Just let me think.
I really like Patty.
I really want to try that soup.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
It was a bad soup.
Good soup.
Patty's one of those characters that I really want to see more of, and we didn't. Like, it's very funny. That's when I started like really laughing out loud watching it.
Zeph reminded me of like the old school pirates too. I want to see more of, and he was a really good character.
Sanji's the first character with a first tragic backstory. You could argue Zoro a little bit, but he's the first one where you feel like, oh man, this is really unfortunate. He really went through
You didn't.
the ringer.
You didn't feel like. Oh no, man, that's right afterwards. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah.
Sanji's the first one where it's like, oh, he really fought to be where he's at now. And then right after that, you get the 1-2 punch of Nami, who's had a
I think
big
Nami's
work.
was more heartfelt though.
Nami's
They
is
definitely
more
focused on it more,
And it shows
and
that
that's
the
what made that
pi-
arc a little better.
it shows that in One Piece that the pirates are mostly despicable people. They're liars, they're cheaters, they're selfish, they're gonna go after whoever they have to go to for their own selfish needs. And the Straw Hats are the exception to that. And it shows time and time again with that. Everyone's like, don't ally with people, don't, they're just gonna backstab you. And it just shows that like Luffy and the guys aren't like that.
To prove his point, Nami is still going through her tragic past at the time.
Yeah. And you realize like how Nami is, how she's a cheater and a liar and a thief. Like you realize like that's why she is the way she is because of her backstory, and how she's just trying to get money to save her village and it doesn't work out for her. And that's when Luffy comes in. She finally emotionally breaks and asks Luffy for help, and Luffy finally does after giving her the hat, which he said don't touch before because that's my greatest treasure, and he gives it to her. It's very symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when he rolls out with the crew. It's just so much going on in that moment that.
Notice he also didn't get involved at all. Like he ignored everything, said I don't want to know about this until she asked him for help.
And that's just,
That's where like that's the point where she's not gonna leave.
that's what makes Luffy's character so good is he's not predictable in that sense of like you don't know what he's gonna do until he does it kind of thing. It's like like, Luffy easily could have left Barate. He owed them money or whatever. He owed them. I forget what it was
Right.
exactly. He ate their food or whatever it was.
No, he
broke
broke after
the-
shit.
Yeah, okay, you broke it, and then he's like, all right, well you owe me. You can't leave now, and he could have easily left, but he had to fight for a little bit. But he's like, all right, well I'll stick around for a bit. And that was the first time too that I know I'm skipping around, but Nami stole this the Mary and split up. That was the first time in the series that the crew split up and there's multiple things going on at once. And it's interesting because it goes on a lot deeper later on, where you got multiple things going on at once.
I like when he got Sanji, like I think that was a real big piece for Luffy too. Like Zoro being his right hand and Sanji being his left.
Yeah.
Like so that's another reason why I like the Barati arc better than Arlong. It's like you got one of the most important pieces, especially down the line that you're gonna see, and it was just Sanji was MVP in Arlong Park to me too. Like even the part when he got Luffy out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He was one of my favorite characters. Is making me remember how much I liked Sanji when he first came on the scene.
I will say that's like the start of the fall of my worst. The part I hate most about Arlong Park is where Luffy gets himself into these stupid situations that take way too long.
Yeah, I do hate that. I do hate that.
Well, wait till you watch the next 1,000 episodes. 'Cause
Oh, I
it's gonna
know.
keep happening.
That's why I'm glad I could just what is it called when you watch when you could keep binge watch. That's what I did. Like I'm like, okay, let's hurry up.
So far, Jacob, who's your favorite villain
Favorite villain?
up to Lockdown?
I want to say probably Arlong, I would say.
Yeah, he's a good villain. I think the Don Creed fight though was better than Arlong. Like I was watching it again, man, and like Arlong was doing these things where like torpedo shark attack, whatever he said, and it was like, wait, what am I watching right now?
You can tell the silly knocks his teeth out and uses them as grippers. It's kind of
I'll
crazy.
say
but
Don
it's silly.
Krieg's I think was better, but like Arlong I feel like is portrayed as a better villain.
He is.
Like he comes
He
off
is.
as more threatening. He's been there for what 8 years
Yeah.
and has actually been shown killing people,
Yeah.
and like the whole town's terrified of him. Don Krieg just shows up and like they heard about him.
Yeah, and Mihawk completely smacked him.
And
His whole
right,
ship.
and that too. He's the main villain, and then here comes Mihawk that just brushes.
This guy annoyed me
destroys
so much,
everything.
yeah.
Slashes the ship in half.
Yeah.
I feel like the Krieg fight was such a raw fight, and when they went to Arlong, everybody else had these raw, hard fights, and Luffy's was kind of goofy.
Yeah.
You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Like that's
that's
what
true.
I didn't like about it. It was like I want to see the raw, like Luffy punched through his those nails that he
Yep, I
had.
was just about to
Like
say
I
that.
want to see stuff like that.
It showed that like you might have this armor, but I have more willpower
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter. Like if you have bigger guns, I'm still gonna pull through whatever you got.
And I'm losing blood.
And Hachi made it really goofy too.
Yeah.
Right.
But Hachi's another string of characters like really goofy, and he's like I don't really feel nothing for him, and then he comes back later and you like him a lot more. Spoilers.
Speaking of coming back, is anybody upset that Buggy came back?
No,
Hmm.
Okay.
keep him coming.
I don't.
Buggy's really annoying at first. I didn't care for him at all, but it's just one of those characters. It just adds another layer to the show.
The more I see him, the more I love him.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
He's a character that they can keep building on. That's what I like about him.
See what else we got going on here, Jeffrey? Who's your favorite villain so far?
Arlong.
Yeah, he's this is definitely Arlon Arcade was like really made me fall in love with the show,
Mm-hmm.
and you know made me think like, all right, I'm gonna watch this to the end.
well, that was also the turning point for the whole show because it's like that's where he gets his bounty finally after being Arlong.
Yep.
And then like that's where he's known to the world.
And then Mihawk shows the wanted poster to Shanks.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you establish that relationship, isn't it? Where they start saying like, all right, we used to be friends or whatever.
They yeah, they used to have fights and stuff.
Okay, yeah,
or like
that's
like
what
they
they
used to
did.
be.
'Cause I don't think they say it during his introduction. Maybe they do.
Or he's not here to have bouts with him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I think why we like that arc so much on the first was like we actually could see the potential of what the show could be. Like we said, the whole crew came together. You know what I mean? Okay, this can happen, and they get more crew members. I'm stuck in the show now.
You know, that was the first time you had a whole crew versus a whole crew.
You know,
And watching it back too, I was watching like how Luffy really didn't fight Smoker, is because he really didn't have a beef with him. But if you watch, you know, against Arlong, he really wanted to beat him up because of what he did in Nanami in the town and everything. So it kind of makes you think about
Right.
like watching it back. I realized that. Yeah. The kids, have you guys cried during watching the show yet?
For me?
Both of you. I cried like 4 times watching it back.
Well, this is my first time watching, so I can't really cry.
Yes.
I haven't
every
cried
time.
yet.
The backstory of Sanji, man, got me again with Zeth.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like old school cats like Rick who play
Mm.
poker with.
Well,
man,
the
where, like,
manga of that is different because
Uh-oh.
in the manga, Zep eats his leg.
It's
we're not
different.
talking about.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just,
It makes it even more emotional.
In the
It's-
manga, he
I'm
eats
just-
his
I'm
leg
just messing with you.
instead of
So,
an anime where he loses it.
so in
He gets caught,
the
yeah.
manga, they don't even show him getting his foot stuck at all.
No, he eats it because he gave Sanji all the food.
He cuts off his own leg and eats it. That's how he survives.
Yeah, it's kind of more real.
I feel like I seen that in the anime when I first seen watch back. I seen that. I was like, I don't remember seeing that.
Which is more deep because that's his whole bread
Yeah.
and butter. That's how he fights.
Mhm.
That's how he makes his living is his feet. So
Yeah, I didn't know that. All right. What else we got going on
I wanted
here?
to talk about the 4Kids because we talked about it before, and this is what they took out and changed. They had a terrible rap song. Remember that rap song? You gotta go, gotta go.
Oh yeah,
it was
the intro.
horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible. I mean, this is corny and lame, and no one wanted to
Took
get
a
It was
into
bite
it.
it was a classic, Ryan.
It was a
He took a
I
bite
feel
of
bad for
the
the guy that edited it.
exactly
Like y'all really want me to
It's
put
not
this
even
in?
a
Like,
cigarette. He's a lollipop.
something that keeps on going even to this day because our friend was started reading it and he kept calling Zoro Zolo.
Yeah.
You notice that?
mhm.
It's like a Western thing. I don't know why they keep changing names and stuff.
He's still
San-
called Solo in
Sanji's-
the manga.
Yeah, it was just silly. Sanji doesn't smoke at all. He's a lollipop. They have no guns. They have no swords. They have no cigarettes. They have no alcohol. Everything that makes a pirate, in that sense, they have none of that.
So what does Zoro have into the swords?
He has swords, but he doesn't cut nobody. No blood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
they
scars,
just
no
They
don't
blood.
like cut it out.
Like the Mihawk fight, no blood at all.
It's just like a flash and
Yep.
Yep.
The Shanks flashback, no blood.
Didn't he not have a bottle, Sanji, when he was pouring that bottle?
I believe so.
It was weird.
So even in the 4Kids, when like Redfoot Zest like ripped his leg off, it
Nothing.
didn't show nothing.
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 Bone dry.
That's-
They also skip complete arcs, which we haven't got to the point yet, but they also skip, we're about to get to next, they skip complete arcs, which goes into people's backstory.
Mhm.
So that's all I want to touch on a little bit, is like, they completely just like, take
How
away
far
from the
did
show.
4Kids go?
Skypiea, right before
Really?
Skypiea.
Dang, yeah, I thought it cut off with the
I
Barati
didn't
arc.
think it got to the next
No,
one.
it cut,
So
right,
it
it
cut
cut
off-
right off, right after Alabasta.
It cut out-
before.
Little Garden and Reverse Mountain. Reverse Mountain is when they go to the Grand Line, like in between where we're at now and when they go to the Grand Line, which is like, it's not big in the story, but it's big in the story
Isn't that
like
filler
later on.
movies?
No,
No,
that's the whole motivation of another character.
filler arc is that dragon arc.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's all I want to touch on. It's like we didn't get to go into detail about it more beforehand, but yeah, it's horrible.
Even though I like the Barati arc now better than Harlow, I still feel like Oda's writing is going up too. This
Oh,
was
yeah.
what kept me engaged. So like he's writing up, it's only getting better.
What I love about this is like it makes you feel for the peasants, like even like Nami and the townspeople, like the doctor and the mayor and everything. Like
Mhm.
they weren't important people to the story, but they made you feel like you cared about them. Where in the future episodes, I feel like they missed that a lot.
It's less hard
Yeah.
because they try to expand on too many characters. Like like I said, you have the 3 core characters and then like Nami's sister, and that's pretty much it. And you feel like where they're coming from. It's not like too much going on to where you're not invested no more. Like this.
Well, that's the thing too with
constant
future
juggle.
episodes. Like this is like Arlong Park was just a small town. Everything else is like a big city.
Yeah, it's
So
like a
it's
whole
a
island.
little harder to do that. Like you can focus on those main characters that are like in control, or like the heads of those, or like the leaders. But
I think we should have an ongoing thing like people that we meet in that show
Mhm.
who we wished that would have joined during that arc. And there's nobody really in this arc. I mean, you had Zoro's 2 friends that didn't join. They, they just kind of left, but
They're a pirate.
that's something I really want to expand on when we get further in episodes.
When we get to the
I
Princess
wish
Bride.
Daimon joined.
Tell my man to take the stupid windmill off his hat, man. That was so stupid, man.
It is off now.
It did lead to Luffy's attack though, which shows Luffy's imagination with his attacks. Yeah, I'm just gonna spin. I can do it. Why not? And it worked. Did it show rifle yet? Gum rifle.
Who?
Rifle.
He might have.
That's my favorite attack of Luffy so far.
I don't think so.
It showed a lot.
I like Bazooka. That's what I'm saying. That's what I like about the Luffy fights. He keeps pumping out move after move
I
after
mean,
move.
most
like-
of it's just
Like
a
I didn't
punch
know.
or
Yeah.
kick.
I didn't know the pistol was brought out that early.
Yeah, pistol's his first attack.
Oh yeah.
I like the rifle the most.
I didn't think it was out that.
I don't
soon.
even know what the right.
In a non-spoiler way, when Luffy fell in the water in Arlong Park and they held his head up, and we got to meet the Fishman pirates, from that time I said we needed a Fishman as a crew member,
I remember.
and it took a very long time for something to happen. Yeah.
Too long.
Mhm.
But Arlong, that was another thing too. It expands upon the world. That's the first time they mentioned the 7 warlords.
Yep. They mentioned 7 warlords. Jinbei.
Jinbei was first mentioned in that.
They mentioned how
The Sun Pirates separated.
Yep. That's what I was thinking of.
So it gives you more
Is
history
this-
of the world, and like what's going on
Yeah,
with
way
this.
more foreshadowing than like you won't see for 500 episodes.
And again with Smoker, this is the first time I feel. I mean, we kind of had Captain Morgan a little bit, but this is the first time we actually seen a powerful Marine.
Yeah.
Where you actually had to like strategize or get stronger to fight him. You couldn't just punch him in the face once.
Who also isn't
Mhm.
twisted though.
Yeah.
It's one of the first Marines that are that strong that actually has their position for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is just abusing it, or like in Arlong Park, whenever that one guy's just doing Arlong's dirty work.
It gave the Marines some depth. You kind of was interested in them now. It's
Right.
pretty good.
A likable
Yeah.
Marine.
It's like, okay, what else do they have over there now?
I mean, so far he's my favorite Marine in the show. Like watching it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it really opens up the world of like this is another brand of devil fruit with the Logia. Like this is an element, so you can just and you can't attack it.
They didn't call it, and you're not spoiling them, but they didn't call it Logia during this point, did they?
Mm,
You
no.
just
No.
I don't
Did
even
they
think
not?
they said what it is. They said the name of the devil fruit, but they didn't say like a type.
I forgot what it was.
I don't even think they mentioned types. yet.
Okay.
Bloom or something.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Something like that. But
Gun-
either way, he
and it's-
smoked. You can't hit him physically.
No, smoker.
And all of that is part of the writing going up. It just kept when you first watch it, it keeps
just-
you interested. Like, what else can happen? What else
just-
Marine is there?
Just
What
drip feeding you little by little,
Yeah.
like what else is possible.
You know what I didn't realize? I didn't realize Alvida had a devil fruit. Or got one.
Yeah, she gets one a little
She
bit
didn't
later,
say what she got. She just
Yep.
said she got it.
which is funny because prior to that, she never said that she even knew what a devil fruit
Right.
was, and then she gets the devil fruit, which they.
That's
say
why.
a little-
That's why I don't remember.
They
'Cause I
say-
remember the first one, not when she gets it.
Yes, they said a little
Oh,
bit later when
that's
Buggy
why she lost weight.
recruits her, which is funny because that another thing that Buggy does is keeps recruiting old people that they fought. But
Right.
Maybe we could do it in the future, but I think one thing One Piece needs to do a little more is, I mean, it kind of adds to the show, but like have a map and show you where they're at any given point. They did it this time when it showed the separate East Blue, West Blue, and everything in the Grand Line. But I feel like in later episodes, like yeah, we go to this island, like you have no idea where it is, or. But yeah.
Yeah, they'll show the picture of the island itself, but not anywhere in like where it is in the
where it
world.
is
You know
in
what
the
I'm saying?
world.
Yeah.
They don't do that, but they do like what they did at the end of Arlong Park. They show where the world's at, like what else is going on in the world. I actually like that a lot.
Mhm.
Like it's like the big payoff for that arc, like when he first got his bounty.
Yep.
And then like after every major arc, like they show what else is going on in the world, and most of the time new characters.
One of my
Mhm.
favorite things about Arlong Park is that Luffy never asked Nami why she took the ship, and he just saw what she was going through and was willing to help her.
I mean, around that he didn't even want to hear the backstory.
Yeah, he just went and said that she's my friend, so I'm gonna go and help her.
I'm
Not in the sense of asking her and questioning her why she took the ship.
she did the most, like when she stabbed her arm too. You figured out what the tattoo meant. Like
Yeah.
she went through a lot throughout the arc. It made me like Nami. That was the arc that made me like her.
That,
And it actually showed you where tattoos originated from. Was if you're a pirate or a gang or you went to jail, and not just because you want to go on a weekend and get a tattoo of a cat.
Cat.
That's not here or there though.
yeah, Logtown. I don't really have much to say about that arc.
Like you were saying before, that's when he gets his 2 swords. One of them, he
Logtown's one of those in between arcs that like it's important because it shows you where everybody's at, but nothing really happens.
it shows you more world
And it
building.
introduces stuff
Yeah.
like it introduced Smoke or introduced Drag, even though you don't ever really know anything about him. But now you know he's in that world,
Mm-hmm.
and you know he's that big of a threat to where a Marine's only going to talk to him. He's not going to do nothing.
And you know he's stronger than Smoker.
Right.
I really look forward to those in between arcs of like giant arcs. Like we can consider each like one giant thing, even though it's several smaller ones. But I really like the in between world building arcs, like Logtown.
Right.
Where it's like, all right, well here's a breather, but this is also going on leading up to the next thing, and it makes you question everything that happened before, and it's also building towards the next thing. This we were saying before too is Zoro gets his new swords.
Mhm.
One of them is cursed, which that's the first time they show anything about having cursed swords.
They introduced all the legendary ones to Smoke
Yeah.
Bottom.
So he just picks out a random one and says, oh, this one happens to be cursed. It's a higher grade of sword, and Zoro takes on the challenge of like, all right, well, I'm gonna conquer the sword and it's gonna become mine.
He also like threw it up in the air and like let it.
put his arm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it missed.
She actually picked it out.
Did she pick it up?
Tashigi. Yep.
Oh.
She noticed that it was an important sword because she was looking with him. and
Okay, you're right.
It was in a
Yep,
barrel
yep,
that he
You're right.
picked
Yeah.
out.
Yep. So yeah, he picks it up and then yeah.
I think we talked about Buggy off camera. I don't think we mentioned
about him?
Buggy on the camera. I just want to talk about him. I feel like we skip over him every single time we have the show.
So what do you want to talk about him?
Well, yeah,
Just
there
what do you think
to
about
talk
Buggy? Like how it first started off. He actually started when you first introduced him.
I did not like him.
Show.
at all.
I didn't know like him. He's annoying and
but,
stupid.
But in the beginning, though, you kind of felt like he was strong. Like he
I
was
thought
a
he was going to
dangerous
be
character.
a serious villain that was going to be more important as the show went on, but then he just became
kind of
like a joke.
He
He just-
becomes more of a comic relief than Usopp ever was.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like when he first shows up, he's just not even a threat. He's just inconvenience him. He's annoying because his devil fruit's so goofy that like you can't hit him, you can't slice him in half. Like what are you supposed to do against him?
Well, that's the thing with the first meeting. It was like you realize, okay, there's other people with devil fruits.
Yeah.
Because that's the first person you met that has one.
His voice is hilarious. What about
Big Nose?
No.
What?
Little Buggy's Big Adventure? It actually. Did you watch it again?
Where he meets Gaimon.
I skipped it this time around.
I had to skip through it. I couldn't do it.
I watched it.
What do you think?
I did
What
my
I
laundry
think
while I
about
was
it?
playing.
It was goofy.
Oh,
It
it's
was- it was like-
incredibly goofy.
It was like it was almost like just meeting up there. It was almost like the one guy was trying to act like a god, almost, and you really wasn't scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
Luffy asked him to join the crew, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's back when he was more fast and loose with asking people to join the crew.
Well,
just trying to
Luffy
get
tried to
numbers.
rip him out of the chest.
Yeah, and that did not work.
Wait.
I just never get why. he
I did
couldn't
not
just
watch
pull him
Piggy's
off the
Big
show.
Adventure this time. I'll probably watch it and talk about it next time. But yeah, I wanted you guys to talk about it more.
I just
I
didn't,
didn't
realize
want
why
to.
he didn't just pull the guy.
So we all skip Piggy's Big Adventure.
You're not missing much. I watched it this morning. You're not missing much. Just know he meets Gaimon and then he meets Alvida. That's pretty much it.
Arlong Park is where I became a fan. That's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep watching this show. I see what everybody was talking about.
What took me a while in Arlong Park until Luffy handed Nami the straw hat, and that's when I got sucked into the show
Mhm.
more.
That's when you get the chills for the first
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
I
Bump,
think
bump, bump, bump.
And then when the song plays,
they did a really good job of anticipating the Grand Line as being a great place, and it was. But like they did a really good job building up
Well,
to it.
they made it seem like it was like so much more like powerful than what it.
Which it is.
Like, this is the big leagues. If you
Yeah.
come in here, you got to be ready.
But even what was Arlong's pet thing called? The sea cow, sea king cow, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
stupid
mentioned
cow.
that came from there, and that was the first time that we've seen a sea king other than the flashback of Shanks getting his arm ripped off.
Yeah. The Lord of the Coast, which Luffy one-shots and
Mhm.
creates a pothole, but that's okay.
I laughed at that too, like when Sanji was telling him to be nice and then he kicked it. That was funny.
It's kind of like how Patty did the same thing. He said he was arguing with Sanji, don't fight the customers, and as soon as Don Creed's captain said, or his first mate said that he had no money, he kicked him in the face.
I like Gin too.
I'll say I
Still
actually like
funny.
Gin a
Gin
lot.
was a great character.
Yeah.
That's what,
Gin's one character I wouldn't mind seeing again and or teaming up with the Straw Hats. Maybe not joining, but
Yeah, he had like a real darkness to him.
I was like, he was more well written than I remembered.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they'd expand more on just what he does, kind of thing.
What do you guys think
'Cause
about
he seemed
Pearl?
kinda strong.
I hate Pearl. Every time I watched it,
Was Pearl the
he
guy
just
that
got
was
more
crying
annoying.
about the bloody nose?
Yes.
Yes.
I forget he's in it every time until I see it.
Pearl's a guy with a bunch of pearls all
Yeah.
over him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was forgettable. He was forgettable.
Yeah, I
I
actually
kinda
looked
forgot.
at my notes, and that's the only reason I remembered him.
Yeah, I kind of forgot, even though I watched it. a couple
I forgot
times,
his
so-
name, but if you showed me him, I'd instantly know who it was. But
Who got him out of there? Was it Luffy
I think it was
or Sanji?
Gin.
Gin, okay.
Because
hit
it
him.
looked like Sanji was going to kick through his armor, and then Gin comes in with his whatever weapons and just busts him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of want to know more about Gin, like how strong actually is he?
When he threw
And
the
like-
mask back out at Luffy, like it was to me, it was I like that art better than Arlo on Watch Back.
Let's see here.
It's still an early One Piece too, to where you don't know who can join and when.
Yeah, this is the last of the normal people that really join. You look at everybody, like everybody's human. Don't want to ruin too much, but after this, when people start joining, they become a lot more,
Gimmicky.
memorable and unique.
What's the next arc we started?
Next
Oh,
arc
that's
after
fun.
this is Reverse Mountain, and then it starts going into the
Alabasta.
Giants. Alabasta. There's several arcs.
Yeah, there's the
Baroque
Alabasta
Works.
saga.
Baroque Works. Everybody had the Baroque Works tattoo.
Little Garden and all that stuff.
So where do we stop at?
We stopped at right before Reverse Mountain.
Right
I'm
before
saying
they
where do
went
we
going
stop
on the
when
Grand
we,
Line.
when we watch now? Where are we stopping at for this one?
For the next one, ooh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
No one knows.
That's Alabasta is pretty big.
That's what I
Alabasta,
mean.
just
Alabasta
Alabasta
is
alone.
the first long arc.
Yeah, it's the first like
I'll have to watch.
it's
it.
like double what we just watched. What we're covering right now, which is like we split East Blue into two parts.
We probably should split Alabasta in
several.
Alabasta is from where we're at 100 episodes.
And
No,
somehow
I'm
it isn't
sorry,
the longest
150.
arc. And somehow it isn't the longest arc.
I may have looked on Funimation.
Yeah, it gets much worse, but and better.
Yeah, but for my finishing thoughts on it, I give Luffy the MVP of the Barati, and I give Sanji the MVP of the Arlo. I really like those two characters. In those
Overall,
arcs.
yeah.
No, Zoro did it a lot in Arlong Park as well.
Yeah, he
It
did.
took out-
It was
he
a
did.
hard. It was a
Yeah.
hard pick for me, but I threw Sanji out.
And he was fighting to just getting whooped by Mihawk too. That's what I liked about him. He's still
Mhm.
like, I'm still gonna do this, which is funny because prior to that, Zoro forgets everything he's doing. He's like, I'm gonna fight Mihawk. I'm gonna show him that I'm the greatest swordsman.
Yeah,
and
because he was
smacked.
supposed to go with Usopp and then to
Mhm.
go get the ship back and Nami, but
That's because he thinks he's ready to face his dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he realizes how big of a gap he's got until he can reach it. And then it shows us, it's like, all right, he's at the same level with Luffy right now. He's got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with that though. Luffy gets Baratier, and then we also saw Buggy has Luffy. Did he have him in sea prison cuffs? And
It didn't
Logtown?
mention
It didn't
anything about
mention
that
it.
at all.
So he was cuffed up in
he just
Logtown,
kinda
and he was
trapped
just
him.
like he was just laughing because he's ready to die. He's like, if this is where I die, this is where I die, and it just shows another element to Luffy's character. Is like, I'm gonna do my dream, and if I don't do my dream, this is where I
Well, he
die.
said if he dies doing what
Yes.
his dream, then he's fine with that.
He doesn't know what anxiety or depression is.
Yeah,
That's what caught Smoker's attention too, is the fact that he was about to die,
And just smile.
and he had a big smile on his face.
like,
He's like, he didn't.
Roger
There was
did.
no way he could have known he wasn't gonna die, because that's not his power of how he got out.
yeah. So it reminded him of Roger.
and then he got lucky and Buggy got zapped,
Yeah.
electrocuted.
By what? We don't know.
Dragon.
Was it Dragon?
So
I think it was
finished-
Dragon.
Who knows?
This is also
I think
where
it was
they
Dragon.
reinstate the Straw Hats reinstate their dream for what their goals are prior to going to the Grand Line.
The whole reason why I want a barrel, a wooden barrel.
Yep, they put
I
the
thought
foot
they
up,
were gonna. I
Stop
thought
my
they were
foot
gonna. I thought they were gonna break it.
put the foot up there, saying, "I'm gonna be the king of the pirates. I'm gonna be the world's
They
greatest
started
swordsman. I'm gonna be a
recognizing
brave soldier, brave warrior, whatever it was,
Brave
Of the
Warrior of the
sea.
Sea.
brave warrior of the sea."
Nami's
Nami's gonna
Make a map of
make
the-
a map of the whole.
World.
They also,
and
I was
Sanji's
gonna
just
say,
find all the gold.
I forgot. They also expanded on Yasop's, Usopp's dad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot about that completely too.
With Daddy.
It's like, well, I'm gonna show my daddy that I'm a brave warrior.
I'm not calling a man Daddy.
Even though Usopp doesn't ever want to meet him.
What's
yet.
his full
Right.
name? Like Daddy.
I don't remember.
Something daddy.
So just one more glimpse of like this is where we're at and this is where we're going. That's what I wanted to finish off with prior to going on the Grand Line. But yeah, overall East Blue is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Shows it sinks you in because like you said, Arlen Park's where I got invested.
I feel like up to this point, and a little more beyond, is like the creator actually knew where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do. So it tied together really nice.
After Arlong Park, I could not stop watching the show until I got all the way up to, I think it was Marine. No, it was. What's the like? Impel Down. That's where it got really boring to me.
I love that arc.
It's hilarious, but it just drags on.
There's a lot to drag.
So Jacob,
Yeah.
has your favorite character changed at all so far?
Mm,
And where are you at?
where am I at?
Yeah.
Where he meets one of
Laboon.
Golden Laboon. Yeah.
He meets Laboon.
He's a
That's
reverse
where-
mountain.
Okay.
Right after where we're at.
So who's your favorite character so far right now? You said Zoro before. Is it still Zoro?
Yeah, I would say that, but it's also kind of Sanji a little bit. Yeah. I don't know who I can pick yet.
I mean, Usopp's been doing some good things though.
Is that anybody's favorite character here?
No.
No.
I don't hate Usopp like I used to, but he's not as bad as he was before. I'm still the big three, man. I just right now Zoro's still my overall favorite, but I still really like Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro for each of the character dynamics, what they bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I like Luffy a little bit more right now. Just because it doesn't matter what situation he is in. If he thinks it's right, he's gonna go for it. He's not just gonna hold back.
Which I agree. Luffy's my favorite right now too.
I will say
At
it's
this point.
different. The more you rewatch the show, like 'cause this is like my third rewatch. Like Zoro's still my favorite. Just every time I see him do something, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's why I liked him.
And like Luffy's
But
fights are
it
always
makes me like every other character more too.
yeah. Luffy's fights he's always trying to do. He's always doing different moves. It's not just like Naruto Shadow Clone Jutsu. He's always doing different variations on his punches. Which he's a punch and kick character, but he's making it more, it's not boring.
Believable.
Yeah, it's more. He's more innovative, and
Believe it.
he's like, yeah,
That's what I was about.
yeah, pistol, rifle, bazooka. Like it's the
Mhm.
same thing but different.
Battle axe.
Battle axe, whip, pinwheel. He's got like all these different moves.
Be careful, you might slip up and say something else.
No, I'm not gonna go that far. So yeah,
I will say the other thing about East Blue is like rewatching it. It reminds you that they're pirates.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're on the ship actually, tugging at ropes and stuff, doing piratey things, or at least what you do on a ship back then. Oh.
Oh, my bad. I thought I had my phone on.
So hard to be professional nowadays. Hey, I show up half an hour late, talk crap.
Any finishing thoughts, boys? What are you looking forward to going to the next arc?
What am I looking forward to?
Since it's your first time watching, you're going in blind. You have no reference to anything. What are you looking forward to? What do you want to see?
What I want to see, maybe some new crew members, maybe.
Okay.
more fights, you know.
What are you looking for in the fights?
Like maybe like new moves, maybe by Luffy, thinking like creative or something.
Yeah.
Asking you shall receive.
Mhm. I still got Luffy as my favorite too. His growth is just the most. Even him adding to the crew, that's part of his growth. That's
Yeah.
why he's still my favorite. It's just constant growth.
And that's another thing I wanted to touch on too. Arlong Park is the first time he's like, I'm nothing without my crew. I need my swordsman, I need my cook, I need my liar, I need my navigator. Without
Well, he
them, I'm
doesn't-
nothing.
Luffy doesn't have a tragic backstory like the rest of the crew really does.
He just
Yeah.
accidentally ate it over.
Like everyone else, like Usopp had to lie to make his mom happy to make her think that his dad was actually going to come back.
Yeah. Even if they expand on it a little bit later, it's still not as bad as other books.
Makes you maybe not gonna make fun of kids at school because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Even if Luffy's
Sure,
backstory
they're-
was tragic,
Well,
it wouldn't be tragic to
I
him.
really don't
Yeah.
make fun of people. I like,
That's
stay
just
there
him.
calm.
He's so tunnel vision, so simple-minded that like,
So pure.
yeah. Anything else you want to touch on?
I think that about does it for me. Unless somebody else has. We already talked about foreshadowing. That about does it for me.
Yeah, I don't want to touch on the foreshadowing because